Hey guys, I'm Dr. James Spencer. I'm here in Orlando at the Orange County Convention Center. We're here at the PGA show. Today we had Mitch Sadowsky and I talking about the team aspect to golf fitness, incorporating strength, medical, and the swing coach. Having that team aspect really expedites the swing process as well as the performance aspect to not only golf fitness but to life.
Welcome everybody to our next talk, the health and wellness stage. Our 11 o'clock slot is going to two superstars, Mitch Sadowsky and Dr. James Spencer. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about navigating golf performance's superhighway, utilizing a better team approach. And I want people to understand that the team approach is more powerful than the individual approach. So please join us for the two experts, Mitch Sadowsky and Dr. James Spencer. Guys, thank you.
Thanks. Hey, happy Friday. Happy Friday to the PGA Show 2020. The start of a new decade, sort of. I think that starts next year, but...
Hey, year 2020.
Yeah, it's 2020. It's new decade to me. So, hey, thanks for coming up. What Spence and I want to talk to you guys about is creating a better team approach, sort of navigating the golf performance superhighway. And if you're in Florida like we are, there's one problem with the highway. People do not know how to stay in their lane, and they certainly don't know how to use the carpool lanes. So what we want to talk to you guys today about is how to stay in your lane, and then how to carpool, because ultimately, when you carpool, you get to your destination faster. That destination is golf performance for your golfer. So whether you're on the medical side like Spence, you're on the fitness and strength side like myself, or you're on the instructional side, you want to have a team that can work together with your golfer.
Correct, yeah. So guys, just this week I saw a good picture that Dr. Troy Van Biesen had posted 5 years ago talking about the team aspect. And I think that's very underlooked in the medical and fitness side of things. But what he says is nobody makes an individual decision. It's got to be a team decision for the collective whole of the best interest of the athlete. And the ultimate is we're going to win. You're going to win more frequently. Having an effective communication tool, such as TPI has done for us, having a common language to effectively communicate with each other, whether it is the swing coach or the strength coach, that's going to expedite not only our players and athletes, but a lot of our clients as well.
And I think you see that on the PGA all the time too. We've seen Jason Day out on the course getting his back cracked. We've seen a number of guys with back issues getting adjustments on the course. That just doesn't happen in isolation. There's got to be a team working that knows what's going to go on. So, TPI's got a really great assessment model where, like Spence said, everyone's got the same language to use. So what we want to do is teach you guys that you don't have to be a PGA Tour instructor, fitness professional, or medical professional to treat your individual golfers, the amateur golfers, even the 18 handicappers like a PGA Tour pro. And I think that's going to help drive more people to you because you take that approach.
Correct. And just as our good friend Jason Glass had said, he said, if you have somebody come out to an instructional hitting course, well, let's take them through a dynamic warm-up prior to. And prior to that dynamic warm-up, well, let's go ahead and assess them and screen them very quickly. Maybe their hips or their mid-back aren't able to get into the range of motion to allow for better rotation on their swing. That's something you're asking them to do, but if they can't physically get there, then we have to teach the body how to do that to make sure club head speed and ball speed is up. And that's something that he was alluding to, saying, if you guys come out here and screen some athletes and show the individual results, now it's going to help sell the team aspect more likely.
Yeah, so people that are here, how many of you have some type of assessment protocol that you take your golfers through? Whether it's TPI, FMS, SFMA. Does anyone not have a screening process? Who uses some screening process? All right, perfect. Yeah, so most of us do here. So what we want to do is when you're screening, and you're both using a qualitative and quantitative approach when you're looking at it, and you kind of see someone squat and they do this, you're like, huh, that's a little weird. So then you take them down into their dorsiflexion test, it gets stuck, you're like, huh, that looks weird too. Hey, when that ankle looks tight, when it feels tight, is it tight in front or is it tight behind? Oh, it's tight in front of the ankle. Well, immediately my brain starts functioning going, hey, that's not my lane. I can help the back of the ankle because it's more of a tissue problem, it's probably a motor control problem. We can get that tissue moving a little bit better. But when that ankle slams shut in front, it's stuck, now I know it's time to carpool. So I'm going to call Spence and I'm like, hey, I've got this golfer coming over. He's got another lesson. If I'm an instructor, he's got another lesson next Tuesday. Or I've got him in for fitness the next day and I'm starting his program with him. It's like, hey, Spence, would you mind coming over to the gym, taking a look at his ankle? Sure. So he comes over, he takes a look at the ankle. Hey, have you been through any injuries? Yeah, I had a broken ankle 8 years ago. Okay, how do they fix it? Is it healed? Yeah, it's fine, but it doesn't bother me anymore. Right, that broken ankle doesn't bother you anymore. Except you can't squat, you can't dorsiflex. Other than that, you're fine. So I can call Spence. Spence takes a look at it. Now Spence knows he can assess it. He can do some type of manual therapy on it, and boom, all of a sudden now my golfer can squat, they can rotate, their hip feels better. If they've got back problems, maybe their back's feeling better. So by taking this team approach, you can get that golfer moving better in a very short amount of time. Whereas a strength professional, if I can't fix that ankle, I'm chasing my tail, and they're going to stay stuck where they are.
Correct, and too often do we see that. And from a fitness or a strength standpoint, we see too often also the Theraguns and everything else that these guys are using to help elicit or elude some pain and get people moving and feeling better. But sometimes it's not their job. It's above their pay grade to figure out that pain may be a tumor in the hip, and that's why it's not rotating well. And having the whole medical side and the whole team aspect together, now that's my job to figure out and refer out for an MRI. Because maybe that hip will never rotate. So maybe we are chasing range of motion that we'll never get. And that's my job to figure out and then refer right back to Mitch to start strength training around it.
Yeah, and from that standpoint too, when people come to see me, my amateur golfers from the strength side, they all say the same thing. They want to shoot a little bit lower, but they don't want to be in pain anymore. And if they're in pain, again, my red light starts going off saying, okay, what have you been doing for it? I do a little bit of stretching, but I should be doing more. I'll ice it. I take vitamin M, Motrin, before we play. But that's really about it. They know they should be doing more. And I'm already thinking, I got to get Spence to see them, or I got to get them to see Spence. And if I ask the regular person, hey, are you seeing a chiropractor? Are you seeing a doctor? Are you seeing a therapist? They're like, no, not really. How do we get them to do that? I want him to come to me, because now I can get my golfer to go to see him. So I'll say, hey, Spence, I'm going to set up about 5 people, and they're all going to come in on this day. We're going to do a little free thing. Would you mind coming over? And we'll just work on a date that works for both of us. And he comes over, he takes a look at them. He may only see 2 on a regular basis, but at least that golfer or that athlete knows I care about them. And as soon as they know I care more about their well-being, more than just their golf game, they will come see me for the rest of their training life, because they know how much they trust me and how much I care about their well-being.
And not only that, they're going to start to move better, feel better. They're going to be able to play golf more frequently. If you are their swing instructor, now you can start working on a little bit more of the individual aspects as opposed to a global whole. And the one thing that I truly like about this is whether I'm going to the fitness club or possibly the country club, it's easy to send them to me, see the quick change, refer them right back out to you, and watch how that changes their swing. And now when you feel that difference and see that difference, not only as the individual, but as a swing instructor, now that team aspect is a lot more solidified. They'll trust you a lot more frequently.
Yeah, and along with that, we're all smarter together. Okay, we've seen those motivational pictures that say, you know, none of us are as smart as all of us. None of us are as dumb as all of us together too. Never underestimate the stupidity of people in large groups. But we also know that our collective knowledge together is going to be better. So I know a little bit more about strength training than Spence, and Spence knows a heck of a lot more of the medical side of tissue dysfunction than I do. So why would I not call him even with simple problems? Because there may be something that I'm missing, and on the strength side there's something that he can miss, and I'm going to learn a lot more from him in an hour of therapy, and he's going to learn a lot more by watching me work for an hour, and we'll both learn a ton from our golf instructors by watching them give a lesson for an hour on what their philosophy of the swing is, and we can help get their golfer moving better into the positions that they want.
And not only that, I haven't met a swing instructor that's not in pain, right? So from that aspect, well, shit, maybe you can get out of pain too, right? So this is something not only for your individual health, but for a lot of your clients and your athletes. It behooves you to learn about this aspect, whether it is through the TPI systems as we have learned, or finding a good network in your local community. I think the key to a lot of it is being egoless and being able to effectively communicate for the better interest of the client. Because it's not about us, it's bigger than us. And once you have that aspect, everybody wins.
How many? Who's a golf instructor in here? When was the last time you took a lesson from someone else?
3 days ago.
Perfect. When was the last time you had a strength training session with a trainer?
4 days ago.
Perfect. When was the last time you saw a medical professional? Therapy, chiropractor, PT?
We did the same thing.
Same?
Both did the same thing.
Awesome. You're on the right path.
Yeah.
Anyone else? You ruined my demo though.
Believe me, it doesn't happen every day.
No, but that's good because he understands the importance of it and he's learning those things as he goes along. When he goes to see that therapist or the strength coach and they work a little bit, let's say on T-spine rotation, because man, we all need T-spine rotation in our lives. We could all find a little bit more for our golfers. And he does something for him to get that T-spine moving a little bit. You know, we see a lot of golfers get locked up trying to get through their follow through. Well, if they work on that and he learns just a little bit to be effective, he can use that with his golfer. And if that doesn't work, he can then call his therapist and say, hey, I'd love for you to come over and meet one of my golfers to help him get a little bit more turn. Here's where he's getting stuck. Yeah, perfect. I'd love to come over.
My students are all the opposite. So use them as your demo.
Well,
Yeah,
I would
but
like to
that's
ask
great,
you.
yeah.
I would like to ask you too. What was the big turning point in your change or your interest in strength in therapy? Were you in pain, or did you learn more about the TPI systems? Bingo.
So sometimes an ailment or a negative can be a positive.
Totally.
So, do well, take care of your body and listen to your body.
Very good.
Yeah. No, I love that. And like I said, I think even bring that therapist in for a few days or just one afternoon and say, hey, can you take a look at so-and-so? Can you take a look at so-and-so? I think from the strength side, for me, I like going to see instructions with my golfers. One, I like to see how they're moving. I like to see what can we do in the gym to help impact their golf performance. But on the other side too, I want to talk to the instructor. What positions are you trying to get that golfer in? Can they get there? Can they not get there? If they can't get there, why not? Is it a tissue problem? Is it a motor control problem? Or are we trying to shove a square peg into a round hole? Because if it's a square peg into a round hole, maybe we want to talk to that instructor saying, yeah, I get what you're trying to do and I agree with it. They don't move like that. So let's find a solution together with our medical professional, because they're going to need some manual therapy if you want them in that spot anyway. We're going to have to work together to get them into that position.
The hardest thing is if someone comes for a half-an-hour lesson and you jam and you got lessons after that, to be able to assist them, and it's hard.
Yeah, go ahead and repeat that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great question.
Thank you, John.
It's so hard when someone comes in for a half-an-hour lesson and they don't have the time and you really can't assess them correctly. I do the best I can, but I can be doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
What would you do?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, a great problem, because now how are we more time efficient? So I think there's where we talk to either the medical or the fitness professional.
No one has time anymore, as far as.
Yeah, well, if they don't have time to take care of their body, they don't really have time to work on their golf swing. So I think we have to address that as well, that it's not the half-hour lesson that's going to be impactful. It's what are they doing? I mean, they've got 167 and a half other hours during the week. What are they going to do to get better? Because it's not that 30 minutes. Maybe explain to them, look, whatever I do in 30 minutes isn't going to make a difference if you don't work on your body, because I'm putting you in a position that your body can't maintain. So I would, if you can talk to a strength professional or medical, or they know someone who understands the TPI assessments, have them come in and say, hey, Tom, would you mind coming in a half hour early for your lesson? And we're going to take you through a screen and just give you a couple of warm-ups. If somebody's pretty proficient in TPI and some of the swing dysfunctions, then you can just say, hey, here are 3 warm-up exercises I want you to do before you see me. Show up 5 minutes before your lesson. Rather than just a couple of little turns and grab 2 wedges and take a couple of swings and grip it and rip it, let's try to find more impactful things for them to do. So by the time they see you, they're moving better and you're ready to rip.
You have a quick workout for 2 minutes that we could do with the 30-minute lessons just before the lesson if it's time restricted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For me, I think the 2 things that are most impactful are, or actually it would be 3 things. One would be the world's greatest stretch. So that's a long lunge forward, hand down, arm to the ceiling, stand up, switch sides, same thing. Stretch, open, come back up. The other would be a side lunge, and then we can add in shoulder flexion, or you can even add in rotation, get them going back and forth. I think the other thing would be a T-spine opener. But you hit that in the world's greatest stretch anyways. And you have them come in and do that for 2 minutes right beforehand, they're ready to rock. And most of them, if that's the only fitness they do all week and it's a little bit of mobility, it's probably fine.
And listen, they'll be seeing you more frequently if they are out of pain or if they are moving better. Because now as they start seeing better results, whether it is better control consistency or further shots, they're going to be buying more sessions with you. Right?
And even better for all of us, you can find 3 things, get pictures of them, laminate them, bring them into your studio with you. As soon as they come in, you hand them that card and say, we'll start when you've done these. And then you can start expanding them out. We did that at Lake Nona. We did 3 warm-up exercises. We put them in the car, in the clubhouse. Golfers could grab them, and lo and behold, my name and phone number and email were on the bottom of that sheet.
Yeah.
So when we do this team approach, we start to understand that it's not a slow gaining process. It's actually a fast gaining process. Because you can give somebody, like we said, 2 stretches. They're already moving better. Like, man, I need to do more of this. Good. Do that every day for me, please. I don't really have time. You don't have 30 seconds. When you get out of bed, do the world's greatest stretch, do a side lunge, you're ready to rock. Okay? We have some other joint mobility things that we do, but everyone who does it gets better quicker. And that's what we want. We want them to see immediate progress, not progress over a few months.
And that's honestly what Mitch and I came together to speak about is when do you stay in your lane? When do you have the team aspect in carpool? Because the HOV lane is always faster, especially in South Florida. And that's something him and I have worked together for about 5 years, whether it's individual professional athletes or individual clients locally. And he's somebody that I can always bounce ideas off of as well if my rehab isn't going totally correctly. Right? So everybody can learn from this aspect, and going in with an unbiased attitude and the willingness to learn is going to be the key.
Yeah, a good example is a couple months ago, there was a rash of left medial meniscus repairs that happened to some pretty well-known PGA Tour athletes. My first phone call when I saw all of these surgeries was to Spence saying, hey, what do you think? Like, is this something that is this the new low back in golf? Or is this just sort of a weird anomaly? It just sort of popped up. And we had a long conversation about that. And once we talked about that, that started getting me thinking, all right, from a fitness and strength and movement perspective, how am I going to impact my golfers? From a strength side, I've already got the causality or possible causality, and then I can talk to a golf instructor. Hey, what do you think? What are you seeing in their swings that might cause that injury? Because if it's happening to them, who have access to the greatest of all of the above, it's surely going to happen to our amateurs at some point. So we talk about that. And those are ways that we can intervene quicker, but we've got a nice team approach where we've all just gotten smarter through a bunch of 5, or in our case, 35-minute conversations. But we're all smarter together based on those 3 things.
Is there any questions out there for us right now on the team aspect, or even just how you could start incorporating it at the club or at the course itself? Awesome.
Or even quick warm-up things like the gentleman said. What are some things? My clients don't like to work out. They don't want to go see somebody. What are some things that we can do in our studio or on the teaching area where you can just get them some fitness, just get them moving better? Is there anything you guys want to see from that? The gentleman in the teal.
I just want to ask you guys a question. As professionals, and I'm sure we've all experienced this, what do you do when you're working on a team where everybody's not necessarily on the same page, or butting heads, or they're just not with the program? How do you deal with that?
Go ahead, I'll let you start.
Yeah, well, I think one is find out why we're butting heads. Where are they coming from? Where are we coming from? And as Spence said, where's the ego coming from? Obviously, if there's a headbutting, somebody's just rock solid in where they want that to be, and they're not going to budge. All right, cool. It's not about them, but it's also not about me either. So where can I budge to get both them to get them to understand and see what can we do to work together to make sure that the cog in this wheel, our athlete, is the one who benefits the most. So I think part of that is seeing where they're coming from, why are they coming from that direction, and then where can I give a little and compromise from there. And yes, Don, it's not always that easy.
And to follow up 2 things, as we always say, do you want to win? Right? And if you want to win, then we can put the egos aside. Because again, it's not about us.
Yeah.
The follow-up to that is consistency and kindness will kill them, right? So having that kind attitude and having the team aspect or team approach, they'll start to buy in when they start seeing results.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with going along with them. You may think it's the wrong modality, or you may think it's the wrong intervention, and that's fine. We can work on it until it doesn't work, or just see, well, that didn't work, so let's try something else. And then you just move, and you go until you find what works. Just like when we take care of movement dysfunction. If it's not fixing, if there's not an appreciable improvement within 2 or 3 reps, stop doing it. You're just not going to get anywhere. So we can see that. We just try to make that change. If there's no improvement, we just move on. We've already learned what doesn't work, and that's a lot of times how we find our solutions, just peeling off the stuff that doesn't work.
Any other questions? Guys, thank you again. Mitch and I know deep down from our hearts, appreciation for sitting in the crowd, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them after.
Yeah, thank you again. This place is absolutely enormous, and if you guys come spend 20, 30 minutes with us, we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.